I'm like, girl, somebody told me you dating your father. You know, that's what kind of him. You know he gay, right, Percy?
Please, why are you laughing at him? Don't laugh at him. Please don't.
Okay, let me continue with the story.
Oh,
man. Even today, it's still funny. Oh my gosh, if you haven't heard this show, it's Talk Lately, and it's only on BeExposedRadio.com every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and on YouTube. Just go to Be Exposed Radio.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome to Sunset Soul Radio Show. I am your host, Loved On, and I have with me my co-host, Miss Lisha G.
Hey.
I thank you all for tuning in. My guest tonight, one of my good friends, Trey, we're going to get a phone call from him a little bit later on. I put the post up a couple hours ago about today's topic. I'm not sure.
I need you to get a little bit more jovial. I know you're not feeling well over there, but it's like,
listen, let me first, I'm not in there, that's fine. Let me first start off by saying my apologies. I wanted to jump right in when I probably shouldn't. My apologies. I am not feeling well today. And today is our last show of 2017. It really is. I'm so...
I'm gonna need y'all to get some noise sound.
That's like the sad. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's, is that not what that is? Well, I mean, it's been one heck of a ride.
It's been awesome.
It went kind of fast. I didn't expect it to go as fast as it did. Actually, we started. I believe it was May the 4th. I know we started in the month of May because we did a full month of women topics, and then we went to June. And we did a full month of June topics. And
Father's Day.
Yeah, Father's Day, which was one of my favorite topics, which is taking fathers. And I think I want to redo that again sometime next year, maybe in the month of June or later on. Only because I plan on Sunset Soul getting bigger and better. And I actually think that message needs to go out to more people. I mean, we had some amazing fathers to come in the first show. And we had questions that was asked of them by not their children, but by fatherless children. Things that they would have wanted to ask their father. We asked a group of men. In the next show, we had the fatherless children come on, and we answered some of those questions, and then we asked the children some of those questions on behalf of the fathers. So it was really deep. I mean, by far one of my favorite shows, and I paid homage to my uncle who we lost, I believe it was last year, Uncle Frank.
Yeah.
So I really would love to revisit that show. There's a few topics that we've done that I would love to kind of revisit. Your Hood Ain't My Hood. We definitely didn't finish Your Hood Ain't My Hood. There's so many Baltimore things that we left off. And our good friend, and he's been on the show so many times, Maurice Good, he was here for that show. And I feel like after talking to him after the show that we kind of slighted the men a little bit during that show. Not intentionally, but it was the answers for the games and stuff was based on the stuff that we did.
Right.
Because I went online and found the games that I recognized. But there was several games that he was looking like, I ain't never heard that game before in my life. Or he thought it was something else. So we wanna do that again. That was a really good show. Actually, one of our higher rating shows. Actually, people love to talk about nostalgia.
Yeah,
Really good feeling. And then we wanted to highlight different parts of Baltimore. You got so many different parts. I mean, things you did around Park Heights, you might not have did over East.
Right.
Things you did over East, you might not did out Cherry Hill, and so forth and so forth. So we definitely want to revisit that. And listen, y'all know we use this platform for everyone. The viewers have just as much say so as we do. Y'all already know, if y'all put something in or inbox me personally and say, hey, this is a good idea. Not saying we're going to do it that next show, but we do take it in consideration and see how we can do it. There's been several people who gave us different questions to put on the table that we've done. Love giving advice. I mean, your host and your co-host is women. That's what women do. Which is segue into today's topic, women's liberation. And do we feel as though the woman, today's woman or yesterday's woman, depending on when you want to talk about it, had anything to do with today's new age man? Now let me say, my sisters and I went to see Scruncho at the Baltimore Comedy Factory last week.
Yep.
I believe. And he was talking about how Scruncho is known for being like the Crip, thugged out comedian, underground, and so forth. But you know, he changed his life. He grew up. He matured, and he taking care of his children. But he was talking about how his daughter was having a birthday, and he wanted to take her to get all prettied up, wanted to get her nails and her feet done and stuff. So he said, him being a man, like, he didn't really want to sit in the nail shop. So he just dropped off and said, when it's time to pay, you know, come out here and get me. Well, at the end of the day, he said he sat outside for 4 hours. 4 hours. Waiting for his daughter. He began to get real irritated. So he goes inside the nail shop. And he said he walked past all these people, and I'm looking for my daughter. My daughter's sitting in the little waiting area. Still haven't even gotten to the back yet. I looked back there to see how many more people she had in front of her. And the whole row was filled with a bunch of dudes with their hand up on the little thing, because their nails are in their feet in the water. And he was hot. He was hot. He said he was so mad because he was like, this new millennial man, sitting there letting Ming Lee, his words, rub on their feet and hands or whatever. Now, listen, I'm not knocking men getting manicures and pedicures. It's different for our generation, I guess. I think we were the ones trying to introduce the guys to the manicure, pedicure. Right. But, you know, you got the baby girl sitting there. I can understand his frustration. Nate, it looked like you about to tell me something. What you guys are? You mad? Oh. Well, let me find out. Nate, you get your feet nails on?
First of all, my mother raised me to have good hygiene. Oh my goodness. And your feet are really... Would you want him to be an old man with bad feet?
I mean, people go to the podiatrist every day. I'm just saying, older people do go to the podiatrist.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that. I really don't.
Saying, I'm not getting gel tips or...
But you don't know what they was getting. If that baby girl was sitting there for 4 hours with a bunch of grown men holding up the spot, you know, who knows? They could have been.
I'm sure he was exaggerating.
He could have very well been.
I think he was exaggerating.
He could have very well. I'm not knocking it. He probably was. But I use that as a story to kind of paint a picture for the question at hand. One of my friends by the name of Otis, I call him Trey. He should be calling a little bit later on. He posted a video, and I always pronounce this, and I want to pronounce it right. Shahrazad Ali. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Shahrazad Ali. She is, I guess, an advocate for the nation, and she wrote several books. Author, really, really good point. Lady with the white hat.
Yeah, I know, but who was Emmy Miles?
I just figured out her name.
Oh,
I've been calling her Lady with the white hat since Black Brother Man was on here.
I was so off.
I liked her. We talked about her. We had a video about her speaking on the relationship between with women, or this new age women. She talked about, it wasn't like she only talked about the man. She talked about this new age woman as well.
Right.
And we talked about that when I call him Black by the Man. Mike, he has a show, Black by the Man, that come on Mondays at 12. Check him out. With him. And I couldn't pronounce her name then, and I didn't know who she was. So I have been calling her lady with the white hat.
Now she got a gold hat.
Now she got right. So when my homeboy put a video up, I said, Lord, another one. I was talking about the hat. But I'm assuming he, figured out. But I guess I still was talking about her in some sense.
Yeah.
And now listen, I actually did not disagree with a lot of the things she was saying in that video. The video prior that we were talking about, the only thing I had an issue with was when she was talking about men should have the freedom to have more than one household as long as they can afford it. I'm not here for that. Not knocking anybody else's decision. I just wasn't, necessarily feeling that. But this one, she highlighted several different things that we'll get into a little bit later on the show about how women's liberation. Can you pull up that definition? I got it, but I'm
the definition of women's liberation,
because I was asked that question.
What is it?
How basically, it's like the generic term. I made the generic definition, but she highlighted how that was like one of the main things that sent our black man, because anytime she's talking about us, she's talking about our people. So she's not talking about everybody as a whole. And she speaks on men generally, but her target audience is her own. And she was saying that women's liberation had a lot to do with pushing our man away. So I asked several guys, Maurice being one, Otis will be calling in, so I'm gonna let him give you his opinion on it. Maurice, I think, which we'll get into it later on, his opinion was more so he didn't like the term new age man. He felt like man was just too general. It's targeted everyone, and there's a difference between a man and a boy, a grown boy and an adult male, and so forth and so forth. And as I said to him, that's what makes this conversation debatable.
Who used the term new age men? Is that your term?
I heard it several times.
But I don't understand that term. When
I say new age men, I'm saying in comparison to the men we're used to seeing, or our idea of what a man was.
Okay.
Back then. That's why I said to him, the conversation is subjective, because it depends on what you're used to.
Right.
What you're used to seeing, the lingo men you used to use, the willingness that they used to have, how far they would go. How many times you heard our grandparents say stuff like, I used to walk a mile without no shoes on, shucking corn, and I carried 50-pound bags or whatever on my back. This new age man is like, no, man, I couldn't get no hat.
Right.
That's the new age man, in my opinion.
But see, I think that's unfair to classify this current age to this characteristic of a subsector, because all men aren't like that. All men aren't metrosexuals. All men aren't getting their manicures and pedicures. But these things that they do doesn't necessarily classify or rank them in their masculinity, so to speak, depending on who you're talking to.
Right, I'm going to say based on the woman's
definition. Yeah, the woman's preference. Because I know a lot of women, the first thing they want to see is a man's hands, and for two different reasons. I need to see your hands. I need to see that you've been working, number one.
Checking for calluses. I heard that.
Or, if his fingernails dirty, okay.
Well, that's what they say. So then you okay with the man sitting up in the manicure, getting the manicure, pedicure?
I didn't say that.
With Bob Lee. Well, which one is it?
I believe that a man that works hard should sometimes go and just
be pampered.
Be pampered every now and then. But you in a nail shop more than me. That's not for me.
So that's what
you do.
Your hard limit.
But I can't stand see a man with no clear polish on his nails. No, don't come on.
So you don't want your man hands soft and supple.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
So listen.
And even if my man work a white collar job and doesn't have to, get his hands dirty at work, you're going to get them dirty at home. I got some stuff for you to do.
Things to do. Listen, we are just getting started. I'm looking at your comments right now. We're going to read them when we come back. I was inviting others. Could you do that for me as well? Could you share this post? It's our last show of the year, so we want everybody that would like to take part to be able to come in and take part and have an input on this conversation. The question on the floor is, do you feel that that women's liberation had anything to do with this new age man? Are we partially to blame for this today's men? I don't know. Oh. And when we come back, yes, I'm gonna still have my coat on for those who are asking. I'm sick. Get over it. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Oh.
You're listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
And you have to do some self-care.
Right.
Because you begin to break yourself down worrying about how people will be or how people are treating you, and you see them damaging your life, but something in you just wants to be patient with them. But you have to learn how to let people go. Everybody is not meant to be there for a lifetime.
Right.
And you have to learn your lesson and move on sometimes.
Right. Some people are there just for a season, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's like you have people in your life that are roots, you have people in your life that are branches, and you have people in your life that are leaves.
Right.
You know, you got the people that's there, like the leaves, they gonna be there, hey, I'm just here, you know what I'm saying? Something
as soon as the wind blows,
snap, let me get out of here, oh, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And then you got that one branch, like, you know, I'm gonna fight with you for a second. Oh, snap, the wind too strong, she broke off. Mm-hmm. But you got that one, you got those roots there, you know, those are your elders, the one that's actually there showing you the way, you know, that's actually taking their time, and that's just helping you, like, get molded. And once that wind comes, you know what I'm saying, you can sway left, you can sway far right, but no matter what, the roots are still going to be there to hold you strong. Like, you know what, I got you. You know, you're gonna make it through this. You know, we can do this together. We're a stronghold. So, you know, don't let nothing break that. You know what I'm saying?
And part of the discussion that I had today, and check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I'll let you speak on it. You know it better than I do.
All right, thank you, Nate. All right, so the Say It Loud Film Festival is happening on April 16th, which is next Saturday from noon to 10 p.m. at nighttime. And we have partnered up with the No Boundaries Coalition. So I got to tell you the address real quick. It's 1947 Pennsylvania Avenue, which is where the Jubilee Arts Center is located. Mm-hmm. So we've partnered up with the No Boundaries Coalition, and the No Boundaries Coalition hosts an annual block party right there where we're going to be having the film festival.
Okay.
This is the 9th annual Boundary Block Party, and they are providing shuttle buses to take people to the voting booths because the Maryland primaries open on that same April 16th date that we're having the film festival and the block party. So we're going to be partnering up and promoting each other, and there's going to be these shuttle buses taking people to the voting booths to go vote, and we're going to have live music, live poetry, live dancing from a local high school, and then the films start at 7 p.m. at nighttime. So that's basically what's going on for the Say It Loud Film Festival in West Baltimore.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show. So how important is it for you to have an organization like that and having a child of your own? How does that influence your ability to do the Impact organization?
It influences a lot. It's a little bit challenging because a lot of times people will say, oh, like, you have to practice what you preach, right? So if I'm telling my daughter and I'm raising her under the impact principles and I'm telling other mothers to do this, I have to do the same thing with my child, which is kind of testy a little bit, but I see a lot of development with her. Her leadership, she's only 4. And when I say she has some awesome leadership qualifications, I mean awesome. It's little things that we can observe with our kids, right?
Right.
For instance, when we take them to the park, she brings out a toy, and other people wants to play with them. But she's only child, by the way. She's not going to say, no, you can't play. Only play with this person. She takes the leader in the upper road and be like, okay, well, let's all take turns. So everybody get in the line. Okay, now you go first. Okay, now you go first. And she makes herself last. And that's what I want to see in, that's what I would like to see in all kids. And she's only 4. And when I see those leadership qualifications, of course I have to praise her. Because I'm like, awesome, London, you're being a really good leader. So, it's amazing, and it works. I mean, it really works, my child. And I'm not saying she's a perfect child, because there's no such thing as a perfect child. But when you instill impact principles into your child, and, especially at a young age, and influence their everyday life. Even her teachers are telling me, like, I can see the work that you're doing with her for a single mom. Thank you. Like, they're just thanking me. And that's a blessing as well.
And I think really what it is that our youth just needs that kind of guidance. That's it. Once they have an example, someone that they can follow or someone that they see doing something great or maybe doing something similar, you know, that right there is a catalyst for their success.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, it also goes with the mom as well. You know, the mom and the dad.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. Before the commercial break, we was talking about today's topic. The question on the floor is, do you believe that women's liberation is the blame, or partially the blame, or have anything to do with today's new age man? We were saying, what is today's new age man? Is that what you... Now, that is a subjective opinion, because that's based on you and your expectations of today's men. Right. So let me ask this question. If you had to use 3 words to sum up or define today's man, just today's man, just take the new age off if that's offensive. Today's man, what 3 words could you say?
I plead the fifth.
Really?
Yeah, I can't answer that.
How you gonna plead the fifth?
Because I can't put everybody in a box.
No, I'm saying, okay, so just today's man in your opinion, in comparison to before. The men you recognized before.
What do you mean recognized before?
However, in comparison to the men you used,
the difference in today's men
and the old generation, older generation.
The older generation men seem to be a lot less emotional. More stubborn.
Today's man? Well, back then?
The old man. So
okay,
men today
it's flexible?
Are a lot more flexible.
Compromising? Okay.
More emotional and... let me get another one. Maybe I would even go... I'm just gonna leave it at those.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say
Nicole, that. you got 3 words you could use to give us your opinion on today's man in comparison to the men from back in the day. Your daddy, your uncle, your grandfather. Good or bad? You thinking? Sensitive. Go with emotional.
It's hard because because the question is kind of a setup.
No, because it don't have to be bad.
It's like so many different kinds of men.
But so just it don't have to be 3. Just name some things about today's men.
Today's men are way more open-minded.
Flexible. You said that.
Is that what? Cause I feel like you want me to say, "Oh, they lazy, they this, they that." I don't know
because lazy could be they smart. They have evolved. They know how to work less. They know how they don't have to work hard. They work smart.
You the master of the cleanup.
Who the master of the cleanup?
You the master of the cleanup.
I'm not the master of the cleanup. I'm saying because that's what makes the conversation debatable. So because how you see the men.
Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me. Let me tell you why. Because the way you phrase this question.
Okay.
Do you believe women's liberation is the blame for today's new age men? Meaning, there's something wrong with today's new age men if we're pointing the finger in a blame game.
Okay.
So that kind of automatically puts me to the place where, well, what exactly are we taking the blame for? It has to be negative stuff. You don't.
So if the question would have been, do you think do you think women's liberation should be acknowledged for today's new age men?
Or had an impact.
Impact on today's new age men?
That would be, yeah.
So how would you answer that? had an
Well,
impact.
I don't agree with it.
Okay.
I don't agree with that clip from Miss Goldhead. Miss Ali.
Yeah.
I don't. She had some really good points in her clip, but I don't agree with her stance at all, because realistically, women's liberation had nothing to do with the black woman. That was the white woman's fight, like she said.
Right.
But she's incorporating the black woman into women's
because it was
liberation.
about women as a whole.
But no.
Well, that
Even
was what
during
it was intended. Well, I mean, it's power in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So the white woman might have went out there, but like you say, let's just say they assume. I'm not saying that that's the case. Maybe they felt like, let's add the woman. First, the black woman. You got numbers. You got strength.
But at the end of the day, the black
empowerment,
women's liberation did nothing for the black woman
did
at all, because the black woman was already liberal.
Okay, so read the definition.
I should say. Okay. So, women's liberation is the advocacy of the liberation of women from inequality and subservient status in relation to men, and from attitudes caused by these, now generally replaced by the term feminism. Now, black women were not during the initial women's lib process. Black women were included for the power in numbers. But do you think that society saw the black woman as greater than what they saw them before? They still weren't equal.
But
the black woman wasn't equal.
What came along with.
So even today, we still don't get what everybody else get. We still get categorized, and we still are treated as subservient in today's workforce, and we have to fight every day to keep our status and to remind people that we will be respected. So our liberation came from within. It didn't come from this.
And now that is the position that she had. That is the position. She said, "Why did we need liberation when we were not included?"
But
like
that
you just
wasn't.
said,
But
wait a minute, we gotta go to commercial. Okay. When we come back, we're gonna finish this. I need you guys to give me your input in that, because, like I said, it's women in here. So we're going to come from one perspective. I need to know if you feel like today's woman, this new liberated woman, I am woman, hear me roar, does that have anything to do with this new age? And do you see the difference in the man or men you're used to seeing growing up in comparison to today's men wearing wedding gowns and videos?
Oh, we'll
be right back.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hey everybody, it's Marnie, the executive producer here at BeExposedRadio.com, and I'm here to talk about my show. I know, how selfish, right? Talk Lately with me, Marnie, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So what do we talk about on this show? I can tell you this, there has never been a show that I have gotten completely through the full agenda, because our topics, our conversations are just that damn good. I cover politics, gossip, entertainment, and hey, I love a good panel discussion. Hey, get a group of people in here and let us debate it out. That is the best thing in the world. Not to mention, I take calls and texts, and I'll debate with you too. So why don't you get involved and be heard? What's that old adage? Closed mouths don't get fed. That says it all. So join me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com. Call me at 410-702-5657. You can text at 443-642-9403. And don't forget to be heard and vote in our weekly poll right on the website. Check it out.
It's the Renee Radio Show.
We call them pen pals in my family.
So glad you said that word, because I've actually found out that there are websites, ladies and gentlemen. There are dating websites for men who are incarcerated. Yes. I'm so fucking lonely. I just may sign up for one of those websites.
Don't do it.
Don't you think I shouldn't?
Because they passing your letters around.
Oh, is that what they do?
And one of his friends go send you a letter, and then they go wind up asking you for a Verizon phone card and a couple dollars on their books, because they just spent all that money.
You know a little bit too much.
Their daughter. I told you I have uncles.
Okay.
I know the game.
All right. Well, we're going to talk more about the game. The topic of the day, you guys, is called
Pen
Dangerously
Pals.
in Love. Pen Pals.
Edition.
Your little
Thank you very
Call
much.
me up 410-702.
Because they had nothing else to do.
So it was like, imagine that your late husband was actually your father. I can't imagine that, because that's disgusting.
Very much so.
And then I would have to clean my basement because that's where my actual father resides right now. So, okay. The 60-year-old woman learned the truth about her husband, Percy, 6 years after he passed
Not
away.
Percy, no. Percy doesn't sound like that name.
Percy just sounds like a feminine boy.
Really?
Yeah.
But nobody told you at no point.
Sound like,
Like Percy. Name. Look at Percy over there with his purse.
His name Percy always.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Johnny said, during the commercial break, Johnny said, I would say yes, in some ways it made some new age men a lot lenient and passive and lazy. Women's liberation, I'm assuming that he is speaking of. And women's liberation that we've now got is now also known as feminism.
Yeah.
I am every woman, hear me roar. I just use that. And that's not the actual slogan for feminism.
But see, here's what I don't understand. I don't understand why liberating the woman makes man less than. I don't understand why that has to happen.
Her words were, Miss Ali said, she speaks on being your own person, being independent, would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. This is now excluding the man from the home, excluding the man from your life. Like, I am focused on me and sisterhood.
So
and
what
womanhood.
about all of these successful women that have done it on their own? Mm-hmm. They have built their own empire. They have found a counterpart that is compatible for them, and they are living just fine. They are neither lonely, nor celibate, mm-hmm. nor lesbian, mm-hmm. but they can stand on their own, and so they have stood on their own. So
where is the man in reference to that type of statement?
Well, ideally, if it's a equal counterpart, mm-hmm. then he's more than likely standing. He's right there, grinding it out with her.
So then that's separate, because that's different. That's not excluding the man. Her word, her idea of it is women's liberation or feminism is about womanhood,
but that's
and
not
excluding
true.
The man from the home.
But that is not a true statement. Okay. And this is what my frustration is with the lady, with Sister Ali, mm-hmm. is that her position does not come from a place of factual information. Mm-hmm. Her position comes from personal opinion. She talked about the 60% of women that are either single, widowed, what'd she say? Single, widowed, or
lonely, celibacy, and lesbianism.
No, she talked about 60% of women that didn't have a spouse.
Oh, okay.
Right. So, okay, if you look at the ratio of men and women, then you would have 60% women that don't have a spouse.
Yeah.
So how do you then use that as a basis for how feminism is the cause for these women to be single? It's not feminism that's causing them to be single. If you don't want an independent woman, then go find a dependent one. It's a lot of men out there that's looking for some strong women. And that goes back to her saying that these men are going outside of the black woman. They've been doing that before.
So that's not.
They was doing that before liberation.
Okay, so Mr. Pendleton, Jamie said, what was the topic? There's a video clip that's on the Sunset Soul page that I've shared of Shahrazad Ali. I call her woman in the gold hat.
She's Islam, right? She's from the Nation of Islam.
Yes. Okay. So she's an author, spokesperson, advocate for I can't say it's women, so just African Americans as a whole. She's definitely pro men, in my opinion.
I think,
but she spoke on how, in her opinion, women's liberation was the beginning of the downfall of today's man. I use the term today's new age man because this video is rather old. Mm-hmm. In fact that the hat says it. Should tell you exactly how old it is. I mean, I love it though, but I mean, it came back around again, is what I'm saying. But it's an old video, but it doesn't change the truth of the matter. And while let me say this, it does not change her point. Her position doesn't change. If anything, it worsened in her based on what she believes. or it evolved, or like I said, Scruncho said, you got a group of men now said his daughter can't get her nails and her feet done because the whole salon is filled with a bunch of men. So what? What?
Well, Johnny said the women today intimidate,
and that intimidation.
And
now, you don't think intimidation comes from women's liberation? Where the shrimp come from?
Why are they intimidated? Why would they be intimidated?
Because you said.
Why wouldn't you step up to the plate?
You always invited. I put the question up. Mr. Pendleton, if you see something you feel like you got to offer the show, hit me up.
Mr. Pendleton, hop in the car. Come on, you're only about 20 minutes away.
Yeah, come on. Show just started.
But I hear people talk about intimidation, but I'm in a place in life where I understand that we all as individuals have to take ownership of how we feel, and it's not about what other people made us feel, but we have to take control over our own emotions.
Okay.
So if I'm intimidated by something, it's my responsibility to look inside to find out, why am I intimidated by this? Do I feel that I'm weaker? Do I feel that I'm less than? Is there something that I need to do to pick it up so that I'm no longer intimidated? Or do I say, you need to weaken? You need to... That doesn't make sense. Why do I have to lessen myself because of how you feel?
Well, but her thing is, she said that women's liberation came to distract the black home from civil rights. Civil rights was about building the family, the black family, us together. We're walking together. We're fighting together. Us together. Women's liberation separated the black family.
Well, the women's lib was created and initiated by the white woman. And I understand their fight, because anytime you see civil rights, when the civil rights movement was in process, and you see things changing, now if they're changing for them, maybe they'll change for me. Okay. So I totally understand the mission and the issue of women's lib come into play at that time. The grouping it together into quote unquote civil rights, making the black issue equal to and in common with the women's liberation issue was, as I would agree, a part of the quote unquote conspiracy theory that we talk about often to kind of take those those ideas away from the black culture, as we can have nothing for ourselves. All lives matter.
How about we give you your own? You don't have to stand next to your husband and share this. You can stand and fight with me, and we can have our own independence.
Well, no, I don't believe that it was put into place to separate or lessen the African. I don't. I believe that women's lib started moving because I see that there are things changing for them. If they're changing for them, maybe we can get them to change for us. So they stepped up their game. Now the quote unquote powers to be made the decision to loop it all together into civil rights. Oh, that's civil rights too. So we're not going to just talk about the African American right. We're not going to talk about just the racial rights. We're going to make it all civil rights. And we're going to put it all together. Now, it wasn't the initiative of women's lib to break down the African American fight for freedom and equality.
Now, okay, so if you're saying, I'm going to read these comments, I want you to pull up the definition again. That's the regular Google simplified definition?
Yeah, it's the first one that popped up.
Mr. Pendleton says, women today seem to be more independent than years ago. Absolutely. Johnny said, because the women today is so strong, proud, and don't know what it is to need a man, which in turn weakens the man.
The problem, Johnny, with that is that men need to be needed. Absolutely. Women need to be wanted. And we don't understand that. And it's just in the makeup of who we are. If women don't need men to survive and thrive. This is partly why the ratio of men and women aren't equal. Because if we needed men, then we would have an equal amount of men to help us in life. It doesn't.
So we don't need them.
No, we don't need them.
Nicole, do you need a man? Nicole, you got to ask.
Understand the term need though.
I know.
We need relationship.
Okay.
We need to interact with people. That's a part of the hierarchy.
But that doesn't mean that it has to be a man. Is what you're saying.
Right. We don't have to.
I need the energy of a man.
Okay.
You
the
want
energy. We had a show about that, about the connection and the sweat that. Remember we talked about.
Well, here's the question: do we lessen, or do we get weak and can no longer function? Do we go through a psychological breakdown when we don't have a man? No,
Mr.
we continue to
God designed men and women to be together.
God did design men and women to be together, but God told man it's not good for man to be alone.
Not that women.
It did not say it's not good for women to be alone. If it was either Mr. Pendleton, Overseer Pendleton, that or it was meant for polygamy to continue, because there has always been an uneven amount of men and women. There's not an equal ratio.
She used that to justify why men should be allowed to have more than one wife and more than one home, being if he's able to.
So what I'm saying is either according to the design of human creation, either, and I'm not picking one or other, but either it's okay for women to be alone, or okay for some women to be alone, or it's okay for men to have multiple
Overseer
wives.
Pendleton and Bishop Harris do not understand your position on that. I think they need a simpler explanation for why it is.
Of course they would, because they're just mad because they're not here to argue with me.
Listen, these manly men. Both they were here last week. Of course, you know, Overseer Pendleton and Bishop Harris. They came in. They've come in several times, and graced us with their presence. So, do you disagree? Do y'all feel like that it's not true that women need men just as much as men need women? I guess that would be the next question on the floor.
Write that down. That'd be a good opening for 2018.
Do we? Is it the same? I can't say it's the same. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't say that the need is the same at all. The Bishop Lewis said yes. He feels as though the need is the same. I absolutely don't agree with that though. No. And I'm going by the men that I've seen, the men that I've been around, not just Baltimore, all over. I've seen, because women, in my opinion, are just designed to make it work.
How many older women do we know who, especially in the church, who their husband passed and they just keep on going? They don't never marry no more. They just keep on.
My mother did it. My mother's married to my father at this very moment.
And how long they been
married? They've been married, I think, all of my life. I was born. Hardly, I was born in wedlock.
But they wasn't.
So
shut up. But they split up.
They split up,
and she never
rewriting it. My father has had, several women in his presence, but my mother, that I can say that I haven't seen anyone.
But she survived.
She made it.
She did good.
She did what she needed to do. She took care of whatever she needed to take care of financially. No, I did not again. No, I did not again. What?
No, well, you gotta keep them. It didn't come through when we were talking.
I don't think the need is the same. I think that because then let's go all the way back to slavery. That was embedded in us that we had to still move. Our man. That's the first thing went. Was our men. That's the first thing went. So this is that's one of the main reasons why I do disagree with the whole liberation thing, because it didn't start with liberation. Removing the black man from the home didn't start with liberation.
Exactly.
That came after the black family tried to rebuild. Now, in my opinion,
exactly,
from slavery, now you want to rebuild the home. You want to keep your family together. You bought back your family members from different slave owners and all that. So now your goal is to keep your family together. Totally understand that. I do believe, because come on, we got people. Let's use Freddie Gray right here in Baltimore. You got people. The rise up is what they call it in Baltimore, was for a purpose. But then you got opportunists who just robbed Mondawmin.
Yep.
Like that's it. And asked them to spell for you. How many times I seen Freddie Gray's name spelled wrong? Like, and that's what made me mad. How you gonna post the shoes or whatever that you got for Freddie Gray and you can't even spell the boy's name? Like, that bothered me. You know, so anyway, I'm saying that's so different from women's liberation. So you have people who really wanted to unify. They really wanted their own rights. Because you remember back in the day, you couldn't, we talked about that. Women couldn't buy property. Women couldn't have their own businesses. Everything had to go through their husband and so forth. So to me, women's liberation came from you wanted
and it was
your own.
needed. It was very much needed. There was nothing wrong with a woman that if I go to work and I do the same job that this man does, there's no reason why he should get paid more money than me. I should have equality. And it was a valid reason for them to stand up. But you want me to read Mario's?
Yeah, go ahead, read it.
Mario just said the problem is both the man and the woman can't coexist as both being alpha as both being alpha, both feels one has to be in control instead of coming together. And I totally agree with you. Right. And just because you have a strong black woman does not mean that she does not want to. A strong woman wants to submit to a strong man. We do not want to. I don't want no pushover. Nobody I can walk all over and tell them what to do and dictate. Now, if you let me, I will, because somebody got to make sure.
Wear the pants don't mean I want to. I said over and over again, and I always equate that to, because you know I said it the other day. I'm a Walking Dead fan. I want to be able to go to sleep and know you're gonna kill a walker. Yep. That's the type of man that I need. And I'm not saying, I know that I use TV a lot because that's what I watch. But I'm saying that to say I need a man. I need to know that Michonne don't need Rick.
She stood alone.
She don't need Rick, but she wants Rick, and she came last episode. She could have went down, saved herself. What she do? She came up. She went for her man.
And that's what you need. When you a strong man, you need a strong woman that's gonna have your back.
Oh, you ain't know they was together, girl.
Oh my gosh, she just say is Michonne and Rick together?
She did. Listen, because we got to go to commercial break. All those who are watching, I appreciate you tuning in. Do me a favor and share this so that others can take part in this conversation. We are just getting started. We're going to continue reading your conversations when we come back. If you would like to call after commercial break, call us at 410-702-5657. Things are getting heated. You see my coat just came off, but don't be surprised if you see it back on again. Stay tuned.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
This is Tyree Miles, also known as Mr. Miles the Writer, on Instagram, Fly T Miles.
Hip Hop K, that's Hip Hop K-Zar. Hip Hop K on IG, hip_hop_K.
Oh look, we coming to y'all with this new show called It Is What It Is, where we come with views, y'all.
And it's coming on every Friday, 9 to 11. Check us out.
Make sure y'all get with us. We be talking about any and everything, because it is what it is.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
Listen to Elizabeth Warren talking about Black lives and Black life.
Police are not occupying armies. This is America, not a war zone. I speak today with full knowledge that I have not personally experienced and can never truly understand the fear, the oppression, and the pain that confronts African Americans every day.
Don't you just want to kill yourself? I mean, not from what she was saying, but from the music that was playing in the background. I just want to, oh gosh, but every word she said was prolific, and it did not come from what is now becoming mainstream as white privilege. She has a sensibility about her, and the way she speaks about different things that has, from the first time I saw her, I can't remember what state she's in. I think she's in like North Carolina or something like that, somewhere I'm not going. That some kind of sensibility about her that makes me like her for president. But she's not running. We have this old guy that looks like he should be on the popcorn box. Then we have Martin O'Malley. Fine. We'll settle if we must. Hillary, who I like, but
she just has to fight against all this controversy, and that's the hard part of it all. Then we have Huckabee. I could have swore he died, like in one of those books, like a fairy tale book. Trump, we'll get to you in a moment. Meet with all these black folk in one room, and they just fell for it. Like, he must have been giving out $100 bills behind them.
Check out the Talk Lately show every Tuesday nights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. We have a couple comments on here. You can go ahead and read it.
Jamie said that's not true. You can be a strong man and meet a strong woman who can't submit. And for that, I say, if you meet a strong woman who can't submit, then maybe that's not the woman for you.
And see, for me, Mr. Pendleton, the thing that gets me about that statement is that you meet a strong woman, listen to your words. You meet a strong woman that you want to now submit, minimize herself, let go, take off the pants, be quiet, humble herself. You can use whatever synonym you would like to put in that sentence. At the end of the day, women work hard at building wherever they are, whatever they have, they build to that level. You wouldn't want somebody to walk in and you have built a company up and then you get bought out by someone else and then they want you to take a back seat after you done put all that work in it. Even if it was financially, it was lucrative for you. At the end of the day, it don't feel good. That's your baby. Who wants to submit? Who wants to say, I mean, I know the money right, but you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and let him do his thing. But something that you have invested so much time and energy into. It's not that we wouldn't do it. It's that I need to know that your vision is my vision. I need to know that you have my best interest at heart. I need to be assured in my relationship that when I go to sleep, you are going to have my back. And I don't think that men who choose strong women really assure the women enough to know that I got you. And allow me to do that. Allow me to be the lead. I don't think that I think they say it, but I don't think they see the work that comes along with really assuring a strong woman that you can just let go and I'm going to catch you.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But what's difficult is for men, we do put them in a supportive role sometimes. Okay. Yeah, and if we're gonna have them as the leader, they need to be able to lead. True. So it takes it's give and take when it comes to submission. You have to understand that I'm not going to just let it all loose for you because I don't know whether or not you're going to drop me. I can be fragile. I actually am fragile and very delicate. So if you drop me and you don't handle me properly, I am going to be broken and shattered. So I have to keep up my walls until you show me that you can be trusted. But this is why it's a long process to go through. And we just jumping in relationships left and right a little bit too quick. We need to take our time to slow it down. You talking about women who can't submit. Every woman can submit. Women really want to submit. We want to be able to be women so bad. We want to just, I want you to be able to just take care of me. Now, I'm not saying that ain't going to work. I'm not saying I'm not going to keep doing what I do. But it is an awesome sense of security. And that's what women need. Women don't need men. We need security.
Now, I'm sorry, because Ms. Moore, just before I forget what you just said, Ms. Moore, that's my mentor. She just put a post up the other day, and Mr. Moore, whom I love, he's a what do you call an orchestra
conductor?
I couldn't think. Y'all know I'm sick, but he's a conductor, and they play a lot. They joke a lot. So she walked up to him after. I hope this is okay for me to tell a story, but she put it on Facebook. She walked up to him after the show and said, "Hey, you. I want to marry you." Now, they've been married for years, I mean, at least over 25 or so years. And she said, "I want to marry you," being playful. And a woman scooted her to the side, put her arms around Mr. Moore and was like, "Oh, you need to wait in line." Now, I don't remember what the rest of the post said because y'all know how I feel about Miss Moore, So then I read some of the comments. And in the comments, she wrote back to the person. Mr. Moore said, I'm sorry, Miss Moore walked away, and that he informed her who she was, and if you could see the look on the woman's face, and so forth and so forth. I said, I don't know what she said at the end of the original post, but I feel like that comment should have been with the original post, because that says so much about where they are. And like, I don't even need to address you at all, because I don't feel offended. I don't feel insecure or offended by what you said or threatened at all. She literally laughed and walked away, and then allowed her husband to handle it. And you cannot buy that type of security in a relationship.
Exactly. And that's all women need. We need security. And if I can't trust that you're gonna make things secure, I'm gonna work my butt off to secure this house. Absolutely. And after I've locked this house down, ain't no hell no high water is gonna tear it down. So you trying to get a woman to submit, you're talking about they can't submit. It's not that they can't submit. I refuse to allow anything to come in and tear down what I built. Now, once I can trust you, I'll open the doors, and you can have at it and all of it, because I already know that anything that you do that might change the original structure is going to be for the better.
Right. And even if it does not work, you got me.
Yep.
That doesn't mean something is not going to fall, things are not going to crumble, we're not going to have bad times. That doesn't mean that your idea just ain't going to pan out, and we might got the oodles and noodles and bologna and cheese for a couple months. That don't mean I don't like. I'm just saying that I know that you're working on a master plan.
Can I hold this bell?
You don't want to eat bologna and cheese?
Hold up. No, we can eat bologna and cheese, but I want to do this. Hey, Mr. Pendleton, we don't care that you don't agree. Because you ain't here, so I rung the bell on you. And you can't get to it. And you can't take it.
So what don't you agree with? What I'm confused.
He doesn't agree that.
We got 30 minutes.
He doesn't agree about the women can't submit.
I want to ask Tawanda Gladden, if you're still here. You said in one of the comments, I'm dealing with this right now. Not that I want to be in control, but I'm going to be treated equally. And I need to know, is that a choice? That you're saying, I don't want to be in control, but I'm going to be, meaning at least I'm going to be treated equally? Or you're saying that I have chosen to at least be treated equally? I've chosen to submit enough that we can at least be equal.
I think what she's saying, and when if you're still here, please chime in. But I think what she's saying is she don't want to have to control the situation. But what I will not do is allow you to What I will not do is make myself beneath you. So I'm going to stand my ground, and I think that's what she's talking about.
Okay. So when we come back, we're going to get into some of the things that Miss Ali said. I want to get your opinion on. I just kind of highlighted some quotes that she said, and I want to get some feedback on that. We'll be right back.
Still love you, Jamie.
You are.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show.
I'm just thankful this year I've dealt with, some growing pains, and I've overcome some things, and I've also, accomplished some things in the process. I've learned some things. I've learned I learned that everybody loves your work until they got to pay for it. That's what I learned. That's what I learned. I learned everybody loves what you do.
The pay?
I mean,
not always.
Listen, the Bible says money answereth all things.
Well,
okay, and there is a place. There is a place where finances is necessary. And when you got kids and when you got a wife and then you doing everything and you top dog at what you do, especially when you weren't in the same place like with this radio show, you ain't in the same place you were a year ago. Should nobody be coming on the show and not donating to your show?
Can you say that on my show?
Should nobody be coming to your show?
Can you say that in the middle of the live?
Make that a promo, please.
Should nobody come on this show without donating?
Yes.
I don't care if it's $20.
Donate.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on Be Exposed
Check out this
Radio.
flashback from the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowerment. Just get off of the begging line. Just be proud and just get our pride and our dignity back, because as a child, we're taught how to go and beg for a job. Our parents, they they literally taught us how to make sure you pull your pants up. Me, I'm 6'7", so I'm a bigger man. I was always taught how to not be threatening or intimidate people when I go into different interviews or different scenarios. And so we're literally taught how to condition ourselves, condition our speech, everything in order to go and beg these people for a job, because we know when we walk in the door, I have to tear down 10 stereotypes before I get past hello. So we need to eliminate that. You know, and we need to eliminate that, and the way that we do that is employing ourselves and employing our brothers and sisters. And so that's our mission, is group economics, uplift ourselves, because I can't empower anyone until I empower myself, and change from just being willing, because it's in my heart and my passion to see my people succeed and see us do better and change the social order, because I know that we are not supposed to be on bottom. I understand who I was. I know I didn't fall out of the sky and land on a plantation. So when you have knowledge of self and you know who you are and what you come from, it's frustrating more than anything to see us in this position.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. live on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We were talking to Mr. Pendleton. I think you just tried to call in. Could you call in? You can call in now. Sorry, you can't call during the commercial break. We can't patch you in while we're on the commercial break. So give us a call right back. We wanted to get into some of these quotes that Miss Ali has spoken on. And for those who are just now tuning in, I apologize. I'm a little under the weather. So excuse my, nasally, what do you call it?
You're nasally.
Nasally. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got it.
Congestion.
Yes, that. So she said she spoke on how the system delivered. I'm sorry, that's my handwriting. The system deceived us into thinking that being pro-woman. You hear? Okay, wait a minute. I'm sorry. We'll come back. Mr. Pendleton. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Are you Overseer Pendleton or are you Jamie today?
I'm sorry.
I said, is this Overseer Pendleton or is this Jamie?
This is Overseer Pendleton.
Okay, thank you. I just need to know how to address you, so I want to be. I don't want to be out of
This is he. I am him. I'm the one you were waiting for to talk.
Amen. So, what's your position, sir?
Here's my position, and it may cause controversy, but I think I can handle it.
Okay.
So the reality of it is, I don't think men and women are equal. Let me finish my statement before Lisha, you jump on my throat.
Okay.
I think that men have the responsibility of being the provider, the protector of the relationship. That's our responsibility. That's what God has given us charge to do. Mm-hmm. And not saying the women don't have to work, the women don't have, but the man should be giving all he has to the table. Example, if I'm the husband, because I have a wife, I bring everything I have to the table. Here, listen, we're going to pay these bills. I'm going to cover our family. I'm going to work this out. When storms come, it's my job to protect my family. When if I'm fighting in the street, I'm protecting my family. Whatever I got to do to make our life better, that's what I do as a man. Mm-hmm. Now, her job is to take care of our family. Mm-hmm. So while I'm out doing what I got to do to provide and protect, it's her job to take care of our family. And when I come home, we're working the family together. Here's my example. I'm going to get it. My wife is making sure the family's good. I'm going to do this part. She's taking care of the other part. And then part of that, my responsibility to her is to treat her like the queen God called her to be, and who she is to me.
So who are you?
So the woman, huh?
Who are you in that?
Is she the queen?
Right. Who are you?
Well, that's my. Am I her king? She should treat me as her king.
King and queen are
kind of my queen.
Equal.
I should. She's
not necessarily.
Supposed to be revered and respected.
Mm-hmm. Now,
but she shouldn't have to worry about the daily stresses of how we're gonna live and how we're gonna go.
I agree with you, Jamie, that men and women are not equal.
Respect my name. When you call me, call me the great one. I just want you to
I'm sorry. Let me. Overseer Pendleton. I agree with you.
Great and wonderful, Mr. Oz.
Yes. I agree with you. Men and women are not equal. And women's liberation was not necessarily to say men and women are equal. It was to fight for equality in the workplace so that they will no longer be. So that's two different things. Now, when we were talking about women and submission and women being independent, we're not looking to be a man.
No,
we're not. We're not looking to fill the role of a man. But if we don't have a man in our lives, who's supposed to do the other side if we don't?
Okay, wait a minute, Nicole.
So here's what I mean. So let me respond.
Wait a minute, we got somebody. Go ahead.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Overseer.
I can't hear you, Keisha.
You go. Overseer.
I don't know, your microphone is going out. So I'm gonna say this to you, and then I guess my time will be up. I agree with the women's liberation movement, because I believe that if you do the same job, you should be equal pay. That's not. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's the right thing to do. And women should not be treated less in the workspace than a man is. I totally agree with that. What I have a problem with is that women can be, when women can be so strong, they don't know how to allow a man to be a man and her to be a woman. And I really blame, here's what I blame. I really blame men for that. And the reason why I blame men for that is because when we had it, we didn't take care of it.
Can you say you blame what for what?
He blames the men for as the cause or the reason for why the women don't know how to allow men to be.
So why did you blame men for that? Because that's the direct opposite of what she feels.
Because I blame men for that because there were some men, I'm not saying all men, but there were some men, a generation of men who were absentee in the lives of the women and their children. And so when men stopped being men and started looking for women as objects and not who God created them to be, we lessened the value of who you all were in our sight, and you had no other choice but to be strong. And so when you've been so super strong for so long, it's hard to change what you see because that's all you know.
Now, and I don't think y'all saying anything different. No, I think the perspective is different, but that's what she's saying.
But listen, check this out. If you've been fending for yourself and taking care of your kids by yourself forever, and you've been doing your life the way you want to do your life forever, having a man who is a man who really wants to do and be who he's created to do and be, it's not easy relinquishing what you're used to.
No, it's not.
Because it's become a pattern. It's become a habit. It's become this. And so it's almost like a reprogramming of your daily life to say, I'm going to trust you with something I couldn't trust anybody with.
Okay.
And so if there was an example, and I hate to say it like this, but if men were to continuously be men throughout generations, and there was not the absentee father in our community as there has been for so many decades, we wouldn't have an issue. Our community wouldn't be have so many issues with men and women relationships.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling in, Mr. Pendleton. Always appreciate it.
That my time. I thought we were on the show for 52 more minutes. I was planning on staying on the phone.
We are.
For the time.
1110 Lexington Street. You know what's that?
Come on up. This is what I'm telling you. What I'm doing is I didn't get a phone call for the show today. My kids and I decorate the Christmas tree, but I figured I would just be on the phone.
And you know what?
Isn't that the wife's responsibility to take care of the home, according to you?
But I'm not an absent father. So
I'm just messing with you,
like this
overseer.
Because my babies need to see that their daddy is home when we decorate.
And that to me is where equal comes in.
Hold up.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your position, Mr. Good.
I'm gonna call back in 5 minutes.
Okay, Mr. Good. We are. Ooh, I scared myself. I'm sorry, that was loud. We are talking about the conversation that we had earlier. Is it? Do you believe that women's liberation took part or took blame into today's new age man? But then we kind of shifted into what women's liberation is and feminism, and how the question on the floor from the men was about women not submitting, being strong and not submitting. And let me say, Overseer Penderson, I'm not saying that you were wrong with how you're feeling, not at all. I'm saying that based on your perception, from the man's perception, you're saying, in my opinion, what what's her name, Miss Ali said. She's saying that the women's liberation gave the women this I am woman attitude. I can do this all by myself, which in turn demean the men.
But what Overseer said was he doesn't feel that it's the woman's fault. He feels that it's the man's fault. And right. I mean,
for allowing it.
Yes, but for me, at this point, it was so many different factors that played into where our people are today. We're wasting time blaming and looking for individuals to point the blame to. Let's just identify
Lisa,
where
you
we
better
are
speak.
now.
I'm sorry, we got a caller. But we want to get back into that, what Lisa said. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Caller.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Hey.
Hey, Maurice.
We were just talking about you.
Can you hear me?
We absolutely can.
Okay, well, happy holidays to my three ladies. What's up? How y'all doing?
We good.
Good.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off by saying one of my favorite sayings, which is women love their sons. Mothers love their sons and raise their daughters, right? And so what we see is a continuance, right? So you'll have the mother who, pretty much she loves on her son. She's very loving. She enables her son. And then what happens is he becomes a grown boy and he finds a woman that is pretty much going to do what his mother did for him, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes from that to baby mama, and it's just a continuance, is a continued pattern. And then what happens is these women oftentimes get fed up and then they want to complain about him, but you've helped create it what you're complaining about. That's right. True. And so as I was saying to Elle earlier, was that the bottom line is, like, first off, you got to stop giving these males, you got to stop calling them men. Like, he ain't no man, he's a grown boy. All his actions shows that he's a grown boy. A grown boy is one who wants no responsibility and ain't taking no accountability for anything that he does. That's what grown boys are, And so, to give an example of a grown boy, you take Jody and Baby Boy. Baby Boy that's the example of a grown boy, right? Mm-hmm. For a long time before you got to the end of the movie, he basically didn't want any accountability or responsibility for his actions. And so you got a lot of these types of guys that are walking amongst us. Mm-hmm. They masquerading. Every day is holiday. Every day is Halloween for them. They walk around with a mask, the mask of a man, but really they boys.
Let me ask you a question, because before you switch subjects, was it the man coming into the home at the end of that movie, since you used that? Because she speaks about the biggest issue is because the man is removed from the house. You said Jody walked around majority of the movie like a grown boy until around the end of the movie. Was that because of the man coming into the home, the boyfriend at the time, or just maturity? Or the
I think it was he was forced, and that's a great question. He was forced to mature right? He was forced to mature because mama found her a man, right? And so through example, he now had to learn what it meant to be a man, right? Until Vin Rames came into the picture, him and his homeboy were basically following each other, and at the hierarchy of their households were women.
That's true.
In both households, the hierarchy was the queen.
Absolutely. Listen, Mr. Good, we got to go to a commercial break. Do me a favor. Could you call us right back when we come back from a commercial break and we can continue the conversation?
Will do.
Okay?
Will do.
Oh, I'm
Will
sorry.
do.
She's going to put you on hold. Just stay on hold if you can.
Okay, cool.
Okay. We'll be right back. Y'all stay tuned.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
It doesn't say alleged anywhere in here.
This is the wrong song to play underneath this topic.
They're saying 4 years ago, according to a $20 million lawsuit, the plaintiff, who was also not named, met Charlie Sheen in Las Vegas on April the 1st, 2011. The sleeve suit claimed that Sheen entered into a nefarious plot designed to lure plaintiffs into a luxurious hotel room to serve his prurient desires. Sensationally, it was alleged that Sheen... Say what?
Say perverted.
No, it's prurient.
Let me see. Can I where's the point to the word? Right. Prurient.
It's hard. It makes me want to gag. My cock. Get it? Sensationally, it was alleged Sheen told the man he had no venereal diseases. At that point, they watched the porn and engaged in mutual oral compilation, mutual self-gratification, rubbing and massaging each other, play wrestling, licking, and unprotected intercourse. So, look, my question to my three people here at my panel, are they trying to say, because that's when they said he got this disease 4 years ago, or virus, HIV, 4 years ago. Are they trying to say that he got it from gay sex?
Probably. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That's what it seems. Consensus of the room is
not all the female prostitutes that he was doing. It was the guy.
Just they interjected just one guy in there.
Yeah, you know what that is? That's Sheen having a very good publicist. That's what that is.
Partly, but partly this is the guy.
That's the best story you could come out with.
Yeah, right. This is the story that made the rest of these stories explode, basically.
Check out the Talk Lately show every Tuesday nights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Check out this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com.
So we're going to get a little bit into the album with Miss Amira and learn the basis of it, the Banji soul of it all.
Yes.
So let us know, first of all, what is Banji soul?
Banji soul is basically just real. It's real soul. It's real. It's not cut down. It's not watered down. It's, you know, how as hot as it came off of my mind and my heart. That's what it is. And a lot of the times I get a little tangy, banji, ratchet, whatever how you like to put it, classify it, but I like to say banji, because I'm classy.
Banji is a little classier.
It's a little classier. That's got your pinky up.
Right.
You got your pinky up with that.
Okay, we got to keep the bees, the bougie, the banji.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Right.
So she's created her own lane, Vanjie Soul. So let us know how that is covered in the album that released on the 9th of this month, right?
Yes. Well, I did it to a number of industry tracks, including like the Beatles Come Together, and I did a...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hello?
Yeah, we still here. We were playing. Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, we were just playing a clip coming back from a commercial break. This is another, looks like Muslim woman that has a complete opposite. Is that an opposite position of the Miss Ali?
Yeah, her stance says, I will submit, but these are the expectations of what I'm submitting to.
Okay.
I'm going to submit because I expect you to be able to pay the rent. Absolutely. I expect you to be able to take care of this household. I expect you to be able to secure the perimeter. I expect these things, and I will happily submit.
So, Mr. Good, Maurice, you still here?
I'm still here.
Okay. So, earlier we was talking about submission based on, we used Jody about, men and how, I'm sorry, not men, not using the term men, but grown boys and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
The issue that we were coming up against with guys saying about strong women being able to submit. So what is your position on that? When you have
the first thing, see that word submission or submit, right? It's the flavor of the month. And the bottom line is, I'm going to be very honest with you. No man, and I need y'all to hear me very clearly, no man would ever ask a woman to submit. Mm-hmm. You know who asks women to submit? Mm-hmm. Boys. Ooh. Boys who don't have their stuff together are the ones who ask women to submit. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? A man don't have to ask a woman to submit.
Come on,
because she's gonna see him for who he is, and she's going to follow, and she's going to follow his leadership. I don't want you to submit. I don't want you to submit to me. I want to demonstrate my leadership, and then you make the decision whether or not my leadership is worthy of you following.
Exactly. That's why I asked one of the other young ladies, did she say she chose to be equal? Exactly. Because that says a lot. You putting in work that you don't have to. All you have to do is assure me that I can sit down. Like I said all the time, I will work day and night. When you give me the opportunity to sit down and be lazy, I take every opportunity that I can because I do so much. If a man came in the door and presented me with an opportunity, knowing that he was going to be the man, why would I not?
So I say all of that to say, like, again, ladies, stop giving these guys the title of man. I mean, I see it all the time. I've seen it for decades in my work in the community. I've seen it for decades where that's my man, right? She's claiming him, taking possession of him, right? But he ain't no man. He hasn't demonstrated man qualities.
Exactly.
The difference between a grown boy and a man, the man is the one who embraces, who accepts his responsibilities and take full accountability for himself, for his family, for his community, and for his people.
Yes.
That's what it means to be a man.
I'm going to buy him a cake.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
yes,
Maurice, for all of that. I truly appreciate it. And I'm sure that we will see you in the next years because we got some hot topics.
Absolutely.
We need you.
You know I love y'all.
Absolutely. Love you too. We'll talk to you later.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
All right. Bye.
Otis Skin. Every time I come back on, it's scaring me. He, a friend of mine, Trey, he posted, okay, a lot more went into the destruction of the manliness of black men.
Yes.
Okay? Like seeing our strong black brothers being killed or jailed for standing strong, or the war on drugs that America spent billions of dollars or just to kill and arrest brothers. Just to kill and arrest brothers, or outsourcing good jobs out of the country and expect men to accept the scraps, etc. Lisa said there is nothing wrong with the word submit, but you submit to your husband.
Yes.
Okay. So you want to comment on? I'm sorry, Nicole been holding this thing up. So go ahead.
What I was gonna say was kind of what he just said. It goes so much farther back because of the simple fact that it was a societal standard. Because before, I think women and men were equal. It was an equal. The man went out and made the way to be provided for our way, and then the women took care of the home. It was equal jobs until society made it where as though you felt like something was wrong, or then the money comes in. Oh, the man is the one making the money. You just do what he tells you. It became a problem then, and then when the women's liberation came around, then it was easier for women to get jobs. So then that came, the woman's the one with the job, then the man feels like he's less of who he is.
Mr. Mom.
Because he has to stay, the roles are reversed. So society kind of
did that. Now she spoke about that. Let me first ask a question. I really want to know who costs more, because we keep going back. We keep going back in time. So let's go. Who costs more during slavery time, the men or the women? Because women produce. So because we had a couple guys here that keep saying we're not equal. So who is actually the more in this situation, if you really think about it? Because to me, when you look at a woman, you get a 2 for 1, or 5 for 1, or 12 for 1, depending how she breathes. For a man, you kind of get a one-trick pony. I mean, and I'm not knocking it. I'm using what y'all are saying. We talking about slavery. We're going back in time. You're saying this is where it started from.
You playing the same psychological games that the slave master played.
I'm saying
I don't really
like
this.
More.
No, seriously.
But that's how it went, and that's where it started. Where the mindset was changed. Because the woman, you might have paid more for a female slave because she could produce. But no, you would think it would be that way. But the man probably cost more because he did the labor. And that was
I don't think so, because the woman can produce the man.
Because a part of breaking the black man was, I'm going to separate you from your family and I'm going to sell you cheap to make you feel like you're not worth anything. So a lot of that stuff that occurred was psychological.
I agree.
And the way we make these comparisons, who should submit to who should do this, who should do that, further perpetuates this cause of divide between the black man and the black woman. It's a continue.
I think the biggest thing for me is to say that we're not equal. I don't agree with that.
I don't think we're equal. We're different, and that's what we have to identify.
We're different.
We can't be equal. You cannot compare an apple to an orange.
But they're both fruit.
They're both valuable, and they both contribute, and they contribute in their own way. And we're both human.
I know. So I mean, how are we not equal with being two human beings?
But an apple and an orange is like equal. You can't compare a plum and an apple. A plum is this big.
Fruit.
But a plum is this big and an apple is this big. Is it equal?
But it don't change who it is or what it is.
Exactly, but you can't compare the two. A plum doesn't taste like an apple. It doesn't split like an apple. It doesn't have seeds like an apple. It's two totally different things. But we try to compare the two and it just doesn't match. But we argue all the time. Men are not women.
I agree.
Women are not men. Women don't need the same things men need. Men don't need the same things women need.
But they have a need.
They do. We all have needs.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. I don't think we're saying anything different. I just don't agree that we're not. I think
equal.
As far as equal, meaning human being as a whole, what we bring to the table, of course, is two different things.
Equal is equal. Equal is the same.
We are the same.
We're not
human beings.
We are not.
So we gotta go to this. We compare and compete too much.
Exactly.
I agree. We do.
We can't keep doing that.
We gotta go to this commercial break. When we come back, we're going to finish this, and then I just want to get into a couple more quotes that she said that I want to get your opinion on. We'll be right back. And Otis, we still.
She made me mad.
Exchange Radio Show every Friday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Saturday 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artists, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And
exactly.
Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature, and I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do, and I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular, it's getting that person money, it's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like,
The Artist Exchange Radio Show.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. Before the commercial break, we were talking about competing and comparing women and men and apples and oranges and plums and equal. And I'm serious. But at the end of the day, I understand that our jobs are different. I understand that our positions are different. But I think that now, using today's men and women, you have Mr. Mom, men who take care of the home better than the women. You have women who are out here working, paying the bills, and don't mind having a man to go out there and struggle on their own. So to me, I do see us as being equal because of the new age flexibility, I guess, if you want to say. It wasn't that it couldn't happen 50 years ago. It's just that it didn't. But Otis, Trey, made a comment that, hey, Mr. Benson, he made a comment about, he said the slavery comment. A woman can't produce a man today. She produces a baby today. A man can produce work today. Babies cost first, then produce years later. I absolutely agree with that. Only thing that I see different with what you're saying is investment. Because at the end of the day, while the babies are costing, the women are still working.
And it's still limited because they drink from the
mother. Right. So in the space that the child is taking up is still within the mother. She's sharing her space. So the cost,
her food, because the rations don't necessarily change.
The rations don't change. So they are going in the hole, not the master, if you want to use that. I mean, but either way, I see it as, and if he is losing something, it's an investment for double later. Triple later, because now that child he owns, and that child is going to produce. So but that's not the question. That's not where we are. We're talking about at the moment submission, and we're talking about whether or not. Well, we talked about submission earlier, and whether or not Miss Ali had a point about women's liberation having anything to do or taking any blame for today's man. Now, we talked about the separation of men from the home, and the one thing that she said I wanted to bring up was about the system. In order for you to provide food, clothing, shelter for your child. I'm sorry. In order for you to provide food, clothing, shelter for your child, the man cannot be in the home.
No, what she said was, women talk about how they raise their children, but providing food, shelter, right? That's maintaining.
But I know, I got that. I just skipped that. But she said about for housing.
The public
and things like that, public assistance, because in order for you to take care of your child, because 9 times out of 10, these women, especially during her time, were in poverty.
But that's even biased, because it's not that the government is saying you have to separate your family and put this man out. The system was put in place for women who were already single. It doesn't make sense that the government will provide for a able-bodied working man that's in the home. If you can get up and go to work, get your butt up, go to work, and provide for the family. We can't make it seem like the government has set us up to force our husbands and men out of the household so that we can become... No, that's bullcrap. At the end of the day, if there's a man in the house, go work.
I don't disagree with that. But if there's a man in the house nowadays, I mean, it's to the point to where that goes back to what I'm saying. Because we're taking these women, we're taking care of these
I get
men.
pissed off when I hear all these men counting their food stamps. And so that makes me mad.
I'm not gonna lie, that was always the thing for me. And now, not so much as it was before, men with, and it's not that I think it was an issue with the men having the independence card. I think I'm just so used to men being hesitant to use.
They don't have
like,
don't
there's
care
no pride no more. There's no more within themselves. Like, I don't really want to, that's not wrong to want to say I prefer not to have a car, or at least I'm just used to hearing it. I'm used to hearing some resistance. That's
have you ever been hungry?
I know. Listen. I have had a car.
I'm not saying that we don't all come to a place where we have need. But there are men that are looking for the opportunity.
I literally was with the guy who was waiting for the money to come on the card. So that
there's two different type of people that I'm experienced with in terms of in my family. And most of it is women have pacified men for so long, and pacified in terms of not requiring them to work harder, and it becomes something that then happens. I know all of my uncles never had I had one uncle that ever had a place on his own. I have 8 uncles, and none of them have ever, except for one, ever had his own place, ever had something in his name, had a cell phone, a bill in his home, and he wasn't living off of my mother or his mother or some lady, some pen pal, the pen pal when they first get out. So that becomes a crippling thing for them, and it's not an excuse for them. But then it gets to a point where I don't have to work hard. And just like food stamps crippled women in the 70s and the 80s, it is now an option because I was a teacher, so in the summertime we are expected to either file for unemployment or go to social service, and that gets you through. Because I wasn't a full-time teacher, so I didn't get that little 2 or 3 paychecks over the summer break. So you're expected to do that. And I remember I had a friend that worked there, so I didn't even have to physically go there. She just filled the paperwork out. I got it in the mail. I never used the card that whole summer.
Why?
I was embarrassed.
Resistance. And that's not making it. That's not saying that you should have starved.
But you had some sense of you had pride about yourself.
It was more so just embarrassing.
But did you eat? Did you eat that summer?
I did, but I chose to use the cash that I had, which I should have been saving that.
Well, you could have better utilized your resources, but did you survive?
No, because I used the money that I should have been paying bills with.
No, but you survived. Like, you're still here.
Yeah, but you don't see that in the moment.
Yeah, you don't see it in a moment, but your pride kept you going.
And that's why it's so important for mothers. Those same trust that you put into your daughters, the same resilience that you put into your daughters to teach them how to do things, you have to do the same thing.
And that's what Marie said.
My mother never taught me how to have a bank account because I know my mother is the type that like to have people around. If my mother had her own way, I would have a room in her home right now. But you can't treat boys like that because then you cripple them. And they turn into grown men that don't know how to survive.
And she said that. She made a point saying that now today's women or men learn how to be in a household with a man or how to interact with the woman only via media because they're not used to seeing mothers and fathers in the home together.
I mean that's logical to assess. However, it's not always the case. We take our children outside of our homes all the time, and they see healthy. I'm not saying
understanding,
but I'm not obligated to that
and I
image.
understand
I'm
that.
obligated to the image that I see in my home. But that is, I mean, most of us.
I develop vision outside of my home.
Yeah, but that's something that is instilled in women. You have to look beyond where you are. That's being taken away from men. Mothers and fathers, even if you have both of your parents there or you have two parental figures there, they're still treating the women differently than they treating the young men. They're not giving them the responsibilities.
You mean the mothers?
Right.
Well, I will agree.
My grandmother was killed when I was probably like 22. My grandmother cleaned my clothes, ironed my clothes, cleaned my room until I was about 19.
Well, that goes into gender roles. And at the end of the day, we treat our daughters to show them how to
responsibility.
We, like he said, we raise our daughters.
But that's what I'm saying about being equal. Now you're saying we not, and that goes back from then, and as well as Lisa, if you're still watching, that's what I don't understand. You're saying we are not equal. Y'all don't see us as being equal. Lisa said we are still very different, not equal. I agree with Lisha. But that goes with what they saying. Why is it that it's being instilled in us that we aren't equal? Why is it not start? And I'm saying this
because we're not.
And if your male child doesn't have natural common sense, I had natural common sense. So I saw my cousins and my aunts and my mother wash clothes, and I learned by what I saw them doing. But it was almost like, I don't want you doing this. It's not what you're supposed to do.
Because we are stuck in gender roles. At the end of the day, we really are. It's difficult. I have a 13-year-old. I have to remind myself, no, go let him do that.
Yeah.
Because my instinct is to take care of him.
But
it's
for
to
your
love
daughter, that wasn't the case.
My daughter was washing dishes, doing laundry from the beginning.
Somebody had to show her that. Now, it was instinctually in her, but you showed her how to do those things. For your son, you have to remind yourself.
I have to do that. And I thank God that I'm surrounded by enough people, enough men to realize that this whole I got a mama's boy thing is cute, but no, it ain't cute. When you grow up.
But see, on the flip side of that, the same nurturing in terms of love that you give, because normally the love is detached from your child, because you want him to be hard and rugged and independent for the person who he falls in love with or whatever, his family. But the same love and compassion that you give to your daughter and teaching her and grooming her and as she matures,
Otis just said something that he said. Well, he's saying something like equal, more like opposites, like yin and yang. Everything I'm not, type of thing.
They the same. You can't, but children, you can't. You have to treat them the same. You have to.
No, as far as men and women as a whole, it's not that we are or are not equal. He's saying it's more like yin and yang. Everything I'm not.
That the idea, the concept of the heart that we use, the heart is actually one human heart connected to another human heart.
I believe that.
I did not know that, but it makes total
but they're two
sense.
Whole parts coming together.
Right, but you can't just connect every two parts. No. And I think what we get frustrated with is when we partner up and pair up with something that's not necessarily compatible to us, we now develop a stigma based off of this one thing that's not compatible. Oh, she don't, quote unquote, want to submit.
But at the same time, I hear women wanting a man that's complete and come to them as is. But women expect for you to take me as I am and take me where I am.
Well,
and let me grow in that.
But
you want your man to come to you packaged.
Not necessarily.
Ready to come out of the box.
I'm talking about compatibility. I'm not talking about being set.
But that's normally where the compatibility goes left.
Well, no, not necessarily. It depends on the maturity of the individual. Like, I'm listening to people and they're talking about how, for instance, that lady was talking about how she ain't paid no rent in 19 years. That's great. That's glorious. I would love to have a husband that can handle all the bills and I don't have to worry about none of that. I would love that. But that's not
something happens to him.
That's not a deal breaker for me. For me, that's not a deal breaker. Am I looking to go into a partnership where we sharing, splitting the bills? No, not at all. I could get a roommate for that. But I'm here. I got your back. Huh?
You want him to pay all the bills?
Yes. It will be lovely. Yes, that will be ideal. If he can pay all the bills and all the extra go into our savings so that we can stack, yeah, that'd be great. And I would be transparent for a minute. When me and my ex-husband, I had to catch myself because I've been saying it for a while. Me and my estranged, that's the word. Me and my estranged husband, we had one account, and all of our money went into our account.
So and we have a personal account.
No, we eventually had like a spending account, but we had a joint account. Our money pooled into the joint account, and we paid the bills. Well, I paid the bills, and I did what I wanted with the rest of it. Thank God. That was beautiful. I don't know how, but I appreciate it. He trusted me to handle it. It was gorgeous. But we had a joint account. Why? Because while he was doing his best to cover all the things that needed to be covered, he trusted that I could handle those finances. Period. So because he trusted that I could handle the finances and he throw all his money into his one account, I, being supportive, threw mine in there too. But guess what? I didn't have to. That was beautiful. But if he needed me, I have his back. This was what the compatibility partnership was. And could I pay bills by myself? Probably so. I do it now. Do I want to?
But there's a lot of people that's choosing that lifestyle and they're not prepared for anything else other than
or choosing that
that's what they need. That's what they want.
Like Marie said, with a grown boy or an adult male that's not ready for that type of
You like it? I love it. I am not in the business of telling people what they need. You will learn the same way I learned, by experience. I can't tell you because you're not going to believe me until you fall on your face anyway, or till you figure it out.
Just stop adopting those prehistoric notions of what a man is supposed to do. Or what
no. You might just find somebody that matches up to you with that belief system that you have and their belief system, and it partners. And if that works for you, if you're okay paying all the bills while he stay home and take care of the kids, if that works for you, I love it. Go ahead over there, do what y'all got to do.
We got to take this last commercial break. We're going to read Mario's comment when we come back, and this will be the last segment, right? So stay tuned, and we're going to close the show out when we come back. Stay tuned.
Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E. Digger. Make sure you check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Couple minutes left in the segment.
Sure.
Change is good.
Yes.
Knowing when to make that change in your life. And I think it's important that you know a strategy. You know where you need to go. But change is good. Everything don't stay the same.
Right.
And if you're a person, especially for old people, that can't accept change, then it's kind of hard. I was going to a church I'm gonna make this real brief. I was going to a church that could not, some older members. I attended the second oldest black Presbyterian church in the country. That's one. And why are you laughing?
Yeah, it's bad that you knew that.
And that's the soundbite. Yeah. So
thank you, Eric.
we would play certain music, and we implemented a lot of equipment or instruments like drums and piano, and the style of singing changed. And two people out of the congregation, after the service, they would go up to the pastor, sit down, and say, "Hey, sit down. Let me talk to you." And they will critique each song in the service every week, and it was change. It was evolution. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
And they could not begin to accept it. Like, they are used to the traditional hymn.
The Negro spiritual.
Yes. Not only that.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back. Before the commercial break, we were talking about, what was we talking about? Men, gender roles, is what she was talking about, and the swapping of it. Mario put, my mother taught me everything, cook, clean, etc. And once I learned, she never stepped in to do those things for me. That's why I'm the man I am today, because she raised me to do it all, so I don't have to depend on someone to do it for me. Otis put, grown boys came from men dumbing themselves down to be this roughneck or bad boy sisters started asking for. Turning down good guys and nerds for the guy that got bad grades and got locked up.
I'm sorry. I mean, that may not be your story, but that's the story of I have friends that I would introduce them to people who was everything that they asked for. But because they didn't have the flaws that was attractive, that made me run to
attractive
them.
Because it's recognizable. But you say it all the time. Oh, you need therapy. Oh, you need this. It's not their fault if that's what they know. That's how they was raised. You said these are kids 9 times out of 10.
And it's not just how they know how they was raised. This is the part of social interaction of growing up.
Right.
That's just what happens.
Rarely is it what I was taught, because children are smarter than that. It's what I saw.
Right.
What's popular.
Well, maybe should I say that?
No, what I saw my mother take in this type of person and cater to him and push me to the side to give this person everything that they needed. I saw this
or the same thing, vice versa. What Miss Aliyah said, I saw my mother do it all by herself. Me, everybody know, and I try to stop myself when I see myself doing things my mother did, but commit her life to this one particular dog. Oh, I'm not calling my name, but at the end of the day, that's what it was. She stayed with somebody who cheated on her, who didn't treat her right. I think eventually he saw the error of his ways, but it didn't change what he did. She never divorced him. She never took him to child support.
And she never looked for nobody else.
She never went with anybody else. So you tend to do what you have seen. But Lisa said something earlier back on that I didn't get a chance to speak on, when she said it takes strength to submit. And we never touched on that. And we're talking about yin versus yang and opposite versus being equal. At the end of the day, if we go back to the first question that we put on the floor, and that's name 3 things. If you notice, you said emotional, you said compromise and flexible, but no matter which way you went, it was just a synonym for the words you had already said, be it was from the old school guys or be it was from the new school guys, because it was your interpretation of a thing. For me, I feel like we're looking at women, what women do, and Miss Ali is looking at what the women have done through liberation or whatever, and saying that because you have now isolated yourself, because you have now build your back strong enough that you can take the load. Now the man is looking at you doing this, and and they feel like, well, I can't do what you do, so I'll take this position. Me personally, I think that is equal. I think that the ability for her to be able to take on whatever role, vice versa, you said the new age man is flexible. It's compromising. The ability to be able to be Mr. Mom or whatever. That's evolution. We were trained one way, and I always say this, like, if we weren't brought up in church, what would we have believed? What if we wasn't told that the sky was blue? I was always that girl growing up. What if we were told that red was really orange, or somebody came and said to you later on, like, the sky is really down, or you actually up? What if everything we were taught was wrong? So what makes the man where he is now wrong? Or what makes what the woman is doing now wrong? It takes just as much strength to be perception, and that's why I said I wanted to do the show, because I asked several people and nobody can give an actual answer. Nicole couldn't even get an answer when we first asked her when we got in here, because there is no answer. It is perception. But what she said was it takes strength to submit for a woman, but then you say the strength of a man.
Submit doesn't mean take whatever's being given to you. Submit is just a decision that you make to whatever your arrangement is.
Right. But that's for me, that's either way. That's either way. You're saying
some people out there that can't take that.
But they can't take it, but that doesn't mean, I'm saying that you're using the word strength for a woman to submit. That's no different for a man. Strength is strength. Your submission may be strength, and you as a man may be out here building houses. Strength is strength. I just don't see, I see us as equal. I just think that we're looking at simple things and saying, because you got the ability to do this and you got the ability to do that, then you are the king and I am the queen, which is immediately beneath or slightly beneath.
Submission does not mean hierarchy. And this is where we get messed up. Because we look at it like, if you submit to me, then now I'm above you because you. It is not about who's higher or lower. It's about taking roles and understanding that there has to be a head. You can't go somewhere unless somebody takes the lead. Y'all walking together, eventually the two of you are going to disagree somewhere along the line. And if one person doesn't take the lead, so the strength that it takes for a woman to submit, it takes strength because the leader's not always going to know where to go and what to do.
That's communication.
That is right. That's communication, and that's today.
And sometimes I'm going to have to shut up and let you fall in the ditch. But because even though I'm submitting to you and I know you're going the wrong way, I know it. But you need to fall in this ditch. And I'm going to stand here and help you out.
Exactly. And let it be
of the ditch.
But vice versa. Vice versa, the same way. I just said it. I'm going to let you invest.
But this is not what we do. We are adamant. It's a ditch up there. It's a ditch up there. You gonna fall in that ditch. Watch you fall in that ditch. I ain't gonna fall in that ditch. Go ahead, keep going down there. And when you fall in that ditch, you gonna be in that ditch dirty. I ain't falling. No. But it takes.
I definitely ain't say we ain't run out about the
But let me tell you something. I saw this picture and I fell in love with it. It was just beautiful. It was a picture of a family. It was the two children. They were on the ground. The mother was leaning over top of them, holding a Bible. And leaning on her back was her man. Her man was back to back. He was leaning on her back, holding up a mountain. Okay. And that was a powerful picture for me. Because while he was doing his best to hold up a freaking mountain, and he was holding it up. He was only holding it up with the support of his strong woman. Now, mind you, she wasn't holding the mountain. She wasn't trying to hold the mountain. She ain't even see the mountain. That wasn't her job. She wasn't focused on any of that. But she had enough strength to hold up her man who's holding up the mountain, which means she had more strength.
Is what I'm saying. The man's strength is to hold the mountain. Her strength was to hold her man. All I'm saying is the word strength is the one thing that remains.
But what I'm saying
it's just different The jobs are different, but the word strength still remains.
So what I'm saying is, why do women have to have less strength in order for men to feel emasculated?
I agree.
We are not emasculating them.
Otis said, because we almost said, I think some women confuse submission with fear. They think that if they submit, it makes them look weaker. But like y'all said, it takes a strong woman to submit. Submitting makes you look like you are so confident in your man. Same thing I said about Ms.
But that's the thing. They're not confident.
We're not.
That's why we won't submit.
I agree.
We're not confident in.
We're done. Okay, listen. Thank everybody thank you all for tuning in. This has been an amazing ride. This year, this is the last show for Sunset Soul. Nate, you doing your show tomorrow, right?
No.
You are? Tomorrow, Artist Exchange, tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Nate, I think that's the last show of
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It's after that. I'm sorry, that's the last show for 2017. And we'll be back in January.
The 4th.
January 4th. That's when we come back. So we the first show back?
No. I say that's when you come back.
We'll be back January 4th. Big and better. Listen, I'm waiting for Lisa to come on. So
yes,
now Lisa all Lisha.
I know, right?
You was all was hating on Lisha the other day. Lisa, pick a side. Right. Sorry, you know I love you, Lisa. Thank you so much for supporting.
That's
Otis,
what we
thank
need
you
to
so much
talk
for
to.
chiming in. Maurice and
Pendleton, Overseer
Pendleton, thank y'all so much for chiming in, and we will see y'all on next year. If y'all have any ideas you think we topics you think we should tackle, inbox me any topics that we talked about. You know it was good and we need to bring back and talk about more. Let me know, dear. You coming on here when we do the vegan show again? Yeah, we do need a part 2 because we need Otis in here. I will see y'all next year. I'm going home. I'm going to get me a hot toddy.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to everybody. See y'all on January 4th.
Awesome.
Have a good one.
It's time for flashback.
I'm not going to say all Aries don't know.
It's just the one you had. That was
just a single one. You know.
Just a bit